Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I Engineer Shahad Muhammad, lecturer at Department of Civil Engineering, Comsets University, Islamabad, Sahiwal campus. Welcome you all to this interesting lecture on Mechanics of Solids 2, and this will be our lecture number 21. So today we will continue our previous lecture, that is regarding stress transformation, and it is an advanced topic on combined stresses. In our previous lecture we studied the importance of strain, and we also studied that there are corresponding strains against normal strain and shear strain, and there are corresponding stresses. There are normal stresses and shear stresses. Moreover, we studied that the importance of theta, that stresses need not to be just along some plane x and y, but they can be some at any arbitrary direction theta. Today we will be deriving some equations regarding those theta, that how theta is incorporated into our equations, and we will be solving some derivation and some problems too. So, stress transformation formulas. We are considering a planar stress state. Planar stress state, we are not considering 3D or uniaxial. We are considering planar state of stress, and because that is, we are working on paper and screens, so they are plane, so we are just doing planes. And planes are easy to comprehend rather than 3D members, in which the stresses acts on plane x and y on surfaces with normals x and y plane. So there are x and y axes, and there are corresponding surfaces, x surface and y surface, on which there are stresses applied. The stresses on just two perpendicular surfaces through a point, for example, stress in x direction, stress in y direction, and shear stress in xy plane. So there can be two normal stresses and one shear component. Fully determine the state of stress at that point. So these three stresses are required for a plane element to fully determine its stress, all the stresses. Here we derive formulas to determine the normal and shear stress with respect to theta, and normal stresses with respect to theta, and shear stresses with respect to theta, or you can say that shear stresses along theta and normal stresses along theta and shear stresses along theta acting on other surfaces with normal in x and y plane through the same point. Understood? Okay. What we will be doing is this. First, we isolate a portion of material on which all the stresses, axial stresses in x direction, axial stresses in y direction, shear stresses in xy plane, and stresses along some theta, and shear stresses along some theta x. We will isolate an element. So here again a small region of body is considered. This is your body. A small region in body has uniform stresses. So a part of uniform stresses, a component we have taken, and these are the components. Envision stresses on planes of different orientations through some small region. So these are different orientations in the smaller region we have taken. Analyze general orientation. What is the orientation? Just consider its orientation, that it is along the x-axis or some oriented at some angle. If that is oriented at some angle, what we will do, this stress block, we will take an arbitrary triangle. Why we are taking triangle? That this is inclined at some angle theta with the x-axis. So this is inclined at angle theta, need not to be, because if that is angle 0, then that is also some theta, and if the angle is 90, then that is also some theta. So this will generalize our equations, and that will be very helpful. Here again is a small region in the body. The stresses are uniform from point to point within this region. So at different points stresses are uniform, and they do depend on orientation of plane on which they act. So they do depend on the plane, and the plane is in which direction, but our property material is isotropic, so all those properties are in our directions are same, not similar, same, but they do depend on orientation. Say the stresses on x and y planes, stress is in x direction, stress is in y direction, and shear stresses in x, y are known. These are known. We have calculated them from bending stresses or axial stresses or tensile stresses or torsional stresses, whatever the case might be, we have calculated them already, and we can find stresses on the surface oriented at angle theta. So with the help of these known stresses, we can find the some normal stresses at angle theta by drawing free body diagram of a region on which all these stresses act. This is your free body diagram, and all these stresses are acting, and we are interested in finding stress at theta and shear stresses at some arbitrary plane oriented at some arbitrary angle. Understood? All right. Second point is multiply the stress on each face times the face area and sum the resulting forces in x and y direction. You have to multiply the stresses with the area so that you will get the forces. Okay, how you are going to do it? Choose a triangular element. You have taken this triangular element to have an hypotenuse h. This is hypotenuse, and out of the plane thickness, this is thickness t, out of the plane outwards, protruding out of the paper. If the sides of h, length h is the surface oriented at angle theta, this is oriented at angle theta, so the angle formulated with the horizontal and perpendicular horizontal of this element will be also theta, perpendicular to this surface. This is your theorem, and multiply each stress components by area on which this force is acting. So these are your stresses. If you multiply these stresses with the area on which they are applied, you will be able to find stresses, forces. So using equilibrium equation, summation of fx is equal to 0 and summation of fy is equal to 0, you can very easily calculate your required stresses, that is stress theta and stress sigma theta. Okay, how you are going to do it? First you have to calculate the area. This is h, so you are going to this is resultant of these two components. So how you are going to decompose this into its components? H cos theta, this is base, and H sin theta. Okay, so this is your now, and multiply by t, thickness, so that will be area. This will be breadth and this is length, so breadth into length, this is area. So summation of fx, all the x components. Okay, this is your area, you have calculated it, and this is your stresses. So this sigma x is applied on t h cos theta, shear tau xy is applied on t h cos theta, same. This is applied on sigma tau xy is applied on t h sin theta, and this is applied on t h sin theta. All right, now we are applying summation of fx is equal to 0, all the forces along x-axis. So we have started from all the four vectors which are in positive x direction, they are positive, and which are negative direction, they are negative. Okay, summation of fx is equal to 0, this one we have written. More what we are going to do, just we started from here. Sigma x, because minus is its direction is in negative x direction. Sigma x stress multiplied by area. Area is t h cos theta. So summation of fx is equal to minus sigma x th cos theta. This is stress and this is area on which this stress is applied. Okay, and there is another minus this one sigma. This component is vertical, so it has no component in in the x-axis, so no contribution in x-axis. So this one minus tau xy, and on which area it is applied? T h sine theta. So this one, moreover, this component sigma theta, and on which area it is applied? H into T. So th, this one. Okay, got it? This is positive because its direction is in positive x direction, and this one, this is in negative direction. This tau theta minus tau theta, and applied on this surface ht is equal to 0. Got it? Very simple. Now what we have to do is summation of Fy. There are forces, stresses in y direction, so we have to compute that summation of Fy is equal to 0. And how we are going to compute it? We have to transform the stresses and multiply that with area, respective area on which they are applied, either perpendicularly or parallelly, and then we have to equate that to 0. Summation of Fy is equal to 0, we have written, and all the Fboard forces are positive. So we are considering, we have started from this one, minus tau xy, and on which area it is applied? H T H cos theta. Okay, and we move further. This one have, and this have no component in y-axis, so 0. And then this one is 0, and this one sigma y multiply by, and this will be minus sigma y t h sine theta, on which plane this has been applied, and we'll move further. And this one, this is arrow in positive y direction, sigma theta, and on which area it is applied? H t, and plus this tau theta is also in positive direction, this multiplied by area. Okay, all right, and our that angle will be cos theta. All right, one another thing that is important, that that is this thing that okay, combine equations, use trigonometric identities and find formulas for this. You have to while for formulating and finding, there are two unknowns, this one and this one. So for two unknowns you have to solve these equations simultaneously. So simultaneously, or you are going to solve it in whatever manner, and using some trigonometric identities, that sine 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cos theta, and cos square theta minus sine square theta is equal to cos 2 theta, and rearranging equations and solve it for this one and this one, and we arrive at the final transformation equation. Axial stress oriented at an angle theta is equal to 1 by 2 sigma x plus sigma y plus 1 by 2 sigma x minus sigma y cos 2 theta plus tau xy sin 2 theta, and shear stress oriented at angle theta is equal to tau xy cos theta plus 1 by 2 sigma y minus sigma x sin 2 theta. So how we have derived these? We will visit the appendix 1-2. appendix 1 2. Okay. Appendix 1 and this one. Okay, derivation of stress transformation formulas. In section 3 we showed that equilibrium, this was equilibrium equations, and we have to solve them simultaneously, and the T multiplied by H, thickness multiplied by H, can be cancelled in all terms combining the summation of forces. So you have to find the summation of the forces, and Fx cos theta and plus Fy sin theta. Okay, we have found two forces in x direction and y direction, and we are orienting that at any angle theta, and cos theta and sin theta is equal to 0, which leads, we will put them equation and multiply them, and which will lead to this sigma x cos square theta plus sigma y sin square theta plus 2, and we follow the trigonometric functions that cos square theta is equal to 1 by 2 1 plus cos 2 theta, and sin square theta is equal to this one, and 2 sin theta cos theta is equal to this one, and to simplify we have incorporated them this one, and we simplify and we get this one. And now combine this force summation equation instead as follows. So if you combine this through this method, minus fx sin theta and fy cos theta is equal to 0, which leads this one, and finally you will get this equation. Understood? Very simple. So this was our derivation, that two equations we have derived. All right. These are fx, all the summation of fx and fy, and we have resolved them at fx cos theta and fx sin theta. And moreover, we have also resolved them along this another angle fx sin theta and fx cos theta. This one. Alright. Confirm that the transformation formulas give the correct results when inclined plane is perpendicular to x or y axis. So we have to confirm that if we put different angles, then they are providing accurate results. Stresses at angle theta and shear stresses at angle theta given by the transformation formulas. Okay, these are the regular transformation formulas. Should have correct value for theta is equal to 0, normal is x-axis, and theta is equal to 90, normal is y-axis. If theta is equal to 0, sigma, you put theta is equal to 0, angle is equal to 0, then you solve this equation and you will get tau 0 is equal to, okay, you will get sigma 0 is equal to sigma x. So at any angle theta you will get sigma x, and tau 0 if you put, you will get tau xy. So that's fine. So means if there is no orientation, then you are getting what you are were inputting. and if you put theta is equal to 90 degree, so you will get sigma y rather than sigma x, and minus tau xy. So your formulas are accurate. Understood? If your theta is equal to 0, then you will get sigma 0 is equal to sigma x. That's fine. At this plane, your sigma 0 should correspond to sigma x, and tau 0 is tau xy. If your angle is 90 degree and you put 90, then you will get minus tau xy in this direction, and tau 90 sigma y. Okay. Draw the stresses on an inclined square element by finding the stresses on its four faces. So there are stresses on four faces, and they are equal and opposite. Two directions, x sigma x, and its parallel side will be sigma x, but that will be in opposite direction. Pick some theta in 0 to 90 degree. Look at four surfaces theta at any angle theta, theta plus 90, theta plus 180, and theta plus 270. These are the faces. So these are the faces of a square element rotated by angle theta relative to x-axis. Use these trigonometric relations. From these trigonometric identities, if sine 2 theta is equal to theta plus 90, you will use minus sine 2 theta, and cos 2 theta, theta plus 90 is equal to minus cos 2 theta, and similarly these. So your formula will incorporate this one, these values. Therefore, on an element at theta, there are only three independent components: this one, and this one. Just like there are only three components on x and y axis: sigma x, sigma y, and tau xy. So just like these components, there are three independent components. This will corresponds to x-axis, sigma x, sigma y, and this will be tau xy, oriented at any angle theta. Okay, got my point? All right, this is your orientation now. Use rotated axes x dash and y dash as an alternative notation for stresses on inclined planes. So these are rotated, and now it will be quite invalid and inappropriate to use sigma x again, because sigma x was representing no orientation and no rotation. So now it has rotated, so you should use sigma x dash and tau x dash y dash and sigma y dash. All right, and your components are along x dash and y dash. Here is a common alternative notation for stresses on an element oriented at theta. Define additional axes x dash and y dash, with x dash oriented at theta from x-axis. Then the normal and shear stresses on the x dash and y dash axis are, so these are normal stresses. All right. Alright, now assume isotropic elements, isotropic elastic behavior relates stresses on rotated x dash y dash axis as strain on those axes. As we have studied that there is biaxial, when biaxial state of stress exists, and there are strains, and those strains should incorporate Poisson effect too. So just like x and y axis, y stresses are related to x and y strains on materials law. By the materials law, the stresses on x dash and y dash are similarly related to their respective strains. Got it? To see these strains, draw the square element with sides oriented along x dash and y dash. So this is oriented along x dash and y dash. The changes in length of the edges, change in x dash, change in y dash, x dash, and this is y dash, elongation, and this is orientation. Normalized by their original length give the strain x dash and y dash. The change in included angle give the shear strain. So gamma x dash y dash. Recall that isotropic material strains in the direction of stresses by the same amount regardless of how stress is oriented. So isotropic material, you can take advantage of Poisson ratio and modulus of elasticity because they are equivalent on all the directions. So for isotropic material, the strain along strain x dash and strain y dash and gamma x dash y dash are related to normal stresses, sigma x dash and sigma y dash, and shear stresses. So elastic constants are E, modulus of elasticity, Poisson ratio, and shear modulus G. So sigma x dash epsilon x dash is equal to sigma x dash x-axis divided by modulus of elasticity, and this is 100% minus some percent of y-axis, y stresses normalized by modulus of elasticity, and similarly this one. These equations are helpful in calculation of strains, biaxial strains. This is biaxial equation, not triaxial. Otherwise, in triaxial case, you will have another variable too. Okay, let's solve a problem, simple problem 7.5. For this state of stress with the given x and y components, determine the stress acting on the surface shown. So this is your stress block, and x and y axes are shown, and minus 3000 psi compression, 4000 psi is your shear stress, and 2000 psi is your tension, and oriented at angle theta 60. Theta is equal to 60 degree. Alright, theta is equal to 60, not this this angle which is given is 60 degree, and with the negative x-axis, and from positive x-axis you have to calculate. So 180 plus 60, that will be your angle with the positive x-axis. Do not forget the concepts which we studied in lecture number 19 regarding orientation and element resolution and those things. Got it? Okay. Note the direction of stresses on x and y phase. Direction is important. This is compression inside. So sigma x is equal to minus 3000 psi compression, and sigma y is 2000 psi outwards. So that is positive. And shear, we talked that if that is a long counterclockwise to the positive x-axis, if your x-axis is positive this direction and that is clockwise, then that is positive. But if that is clockwise, then that is negative. Okay, got it? Whenever this shear stress is clockwise, and clockwise by I mean that not this one. You should just look at this one and this one. If that is clockwise, then you have to take it as negative. Remember this. Alright, if this arrow is being downward, then that is negative. A thumb rule. Otherwise, you have to go to in deeper explanation why this is like this. Okay, now the surface of interest is this. This surface is of our interest, oriented at 60 degree with the negative x-axis. So your angle with the positive x-axis, we formulated equations with the positive x-axis. So angle given is 60 degree with the negative x direction, and we are interested in perpendicular to this surface, and what angle an arrow perpendicular to this surface is making with the positive x-axis. So we will have to solve some trigonometric calculations. This angle is 60, so this angle is also 60 degree. Alternate angles. So this is 90 plus 60 and 180 minus 90 minus 60, you will get 30 degree. This one 30 degree. And if this angle is 30 and you make perpendicular, this 30 degree is perpendicular to y-axis, and if you make a perpendicular to this surface, and that angle is also formulating 30 degree, because this whole surface is 180 degree starting from this point to this point, and if you make a perpendicular, that will bisect this 180, so 90 degree here and 90 degree here. And secondly, we are interested in from positive x-axis the angle which is formulated at this direction. So this direction will be at 90 degree, and so if we 180 minus this 30 degree, so we will get the angle. Second approach is this, that you got 90 degree, this one, and if you add this 60 degree, so you will get that angle with the positive x-axis. So need not to confuse, just solve little triangle and you will get theta of interest is equal to 180 degree minus 30, or 90 plus 60, 150 degree. This angle is what angle? This angle is same angle, the angle which is formulated with positive x-axis, and counterclockwise you move and you come to a point where an arrow which is applied perpendicular to this surface, inclined surface is applied. Got it? Okay. Now evaluate and transform stresses sigma at theta and tau theta for specific values of sigma x, sigma y and tau xy and oriented at surface theta. So these are your equations. 1 by 2 sigma x plus sigma y plus 1 by 2 sigma x minus sigma y cos 2 theta plus tau xy sin 2 theta. You inputted 150 degree and minus 3000 psi minus plus 2000, and similarly angle you have put theta 150 and you got 1714 psi. At this orientation there are 1417 psi, and that is positive. Similarly for shear stresses you calculated and you got minus 1460 psi. You should recall your previous concepts regarding those triangles in which we solved some problems, and we studied some angles and what is meant by negative sign and positive sign. So if your stresses are outwards to the surface, then that is positive. So first we made our assumption that if stresses are outwards, then that is shear sigma is greater than positive, and that is making counterclockwise 90 degree angle with the positive x perpendicular, and that is positive shear stress. So if that is negative, then it is opposite. So you are getting this resultant. So this is your result answer. Got it? Very simple, and that's it. That is problem number 7.5. Okay, let's solve problem number 7.6. Given the state of stress shown, determine the change in length of 2 mm segment. This is 2 mm length, and take the elastic modulus is equal to 70 gigapascal. Giga means 10 raised to power 9, and Poisson ratio 0.33. So this is your stress block, and it is stating that you have to find this surface and inclined at 50 degree with the vertical axis, and you are interested in perpendicular to this surface. So perpendicular to this surface is okay. Note the direction of stresses on the x y faces. So you have to find the change in length. Okay. So sigma x is equal to positive outwards, and this is negative that is inward, and I told you this is counterclockwise, so this is positive shear. Got it? Very simple. These are your if you perform this wrong, then your all questions calculation will be wrong. This is your first step, and this is very essential. All right, to find strain on of the element shown, we need normal stresses acting parallel to the line segment and normal stresses perpendicular to the line segment, parallel and perpendicular to the line segment because of the Poisson effect. Okay, define the direction axis parallel to this x dash. Okay, the stresses parallel to a segment sigma x dash corresponds to 40 degree, and stresses perpendicular to this corresponds to 130 degree. Okay, first we are interested stresses parallel and perpendicular, parallel and perpendicular. Okay, and you know parallel this angle formulates with the positive x-axis, this one. So this is 50 and 50, you add 90 and minus 180, 180 minus 90 and minus 50, you will get 40 degree. So this axis will make 40 degree with this one, and perpendicular to this one will be 90 degree, and you can see this this is 50 degree and 50 degree. So if I make a perpendicular, this is 50 degree angle, and 180 and plus 90 minus 50, you will get 40. So 180 180 will be this much, and we have to calculate the perpendicular. So 50 and 40, 90 plus 40, you will get that perpendicular, x-axis perpendicular to this one, so 130 degree. Yeah. So you should compute it with graphical, and means the angle which this normal to this axis makes with the positive x-axis. So that will be 130 degree. So evaluated stresses corresponding to this one is sigma x, sigma theta is equal to this one, and sigma x dash you have put 40 degree, and sigma y dash this much. Okay, one another process is this, that when you have computed this 40 degree, you have to just add 90 degree, because you want to calculate stresses in y direction. So this will be very easy, other than computing all those for triangles. Just you have found this angle of sigma x or sigma y. If you have found sigma y, then just subtract minus 90, and if you have found sigma x, then just add 90, and you will get another axis stresses. So you got the stresses, that is 103.5 megapascal and minus 53.5 megapascal. So first you have to see that if that is positive x direction, then that is outwards, then that is positive, and if that is inwards, then that is negative. So strain formula, you have calculated this, that isometric, and you are interested in change in length. So change in length of the 2 millimeter segment shows 2 millimeter segment length. So sigma x, so you have put it, and sigma x, you divide this strain divided by original length, and you will get the change in length. So very simple. So we are not interested in shear stresses, we are only interested in change in length, and change in length when your element is subjected to biaxial state of stress, and shear stress is also applied. So biaxial state of stress and you want to calculate the strain change in length, so you will have to apply biaxial state of strain too. So you should be able to solve these problems, and I think few problems will be your home assignment, so you will come to know very soon. So these are very important, you should be able to solve. These focused examples are little complex examples. So in upcoming lecture then we will study maximum and minimum normal stresses. You have calculated these stresses, and later on we will derive few more equations. So if you have any query then you can contact me, and this will be quite new for you, so you will have to dig deeper into this trigonometry and solve few. The more problems you solve, the more better, and you have solutions at the end of the chapters. So thank you and assalamu alaikum.